This is the Stadio dei Marmi in Rome. It was built for the 1932 Olympics, but today, May 31st, 1997, it's given over to a celebration not of muscle power, but of engine power. Spread out in front of the marble athletes, the media, the elite of Italy, and big spending car enthusiasts from all over the world are almost 300 of the most desirable cars ever made. All of them there in celebration of a unique Italian creation, Ferrari. When you talk about Ferrari, you talk about racing. And at this golden anniversary, the centre stage is given over to the cars and the men who've been victorious for the greatest mark in Grand Prix racing. For the man who made Formula One one of the world's biggest sporting attractions, Bernie Ecclestone, there's no question about the importance of the red cars from Maranello and the man whose name they bear.
Mr. Ferrari was Mr. Formula One, and I wouldn't like to think of Formula One without Ferrari. It's a pity Mr. Enzo Ferrari's not with us, but I'm sure in spirit he is anyway.
But the red cars have contributed so much to Grand Prix through the years and have helped.
So much to motorsport.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Without, I don't know where we'd be without Ferrari. I won't be around, I'm sure, although I'd like to think I would be, but in another 50 years you'll see the Formula One Ferraris here.
The cars spread out for inspection today cover the whole of Ferrari's Grand Prix history, from the 50s to the present day. For Eddie Irvine, a Ferrari driver of the late 90s, it's a glance back at history.
It's a great opportunity to look at all these wonderful cars, you know, it's fantastic setting, fantastic day and fantastic cars.
Do you feel when you're part of the Ferrari team that this is part of your heritage, it's part of the soul of the team?
Yeah, hey, this is what Ferrari was all about, you know. This paid for the motor racing in the early years. And to be honest, they're fantastic cars. I've always loved Ferraris. I have 3 at the minute myself, so I'm obviously keen.
And I bet this lot puts you into acquisition overload.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Can you imagine how much money you'd spend if you were allowed to, if you could spend what you wanted to spend? I can see about 5 or 6 that I want now.
I was going to say, I won't ask you to choose one because it'd be impossible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, really. Some of them are just stunning works of art.
But racing needs more than cars, even if they're works of art. It needs a team, and the team needs a leader. Jean Todt has been Ferrari's racing manager since 1993, and he knows the pressure the heritage involves.
It's very much time-consuming, it's very hard, it's very tough because people are expecting probably too much too quickly, but slowly and slowly we make it. Well, if we improve the car for a little, I think we can have some other good results during the season, yes.
But you're happy to be continuing the tradition that's around us today, I'm sure.
Well, tradition is to win, so I will be happy when we win in a consistent manner.
Ross Brawn is the man responsible for the advanced technology of today's Grand Prix Ferraris. As a newcomer to the company, he sees the cars here as a part of an eye-opening history lesson.
It's only really when you come to an event like this you realise the history of Ferrari. And we're a little bit closeted in Formula One, within the world of Formula One. And Ferrari is a pretty special name even within Formula One, but when you come to something like this, it's just amazing. When I was a kid, I used to race slot cars and things like that, and I see some of the cars here now that I used to race 20 years ago, so no, it's exceptional. I wasn't that interested in Formula One, funnily enough, until I got involved in the business, so I didn't follow it that closely, but obviously there's still a lot of people here I've been in Formula One for 20 years now, so there's still a lot of people here from the early days of Formula One, and they're nice. It's nice to see them again. Yeah, well, as an engineer, I was interested in the technology of Formula One, and that's what started it.
Yeah.
It seemed a very interesting field, engineering-wise, to work in, which it has been. I think about, I guess, 8 or 10 years into my career in Formula One was in some ways the most enjoyable period from an engineering point of view, because we were discovering ground effect. It was still a mechanical environment. I mean, now it's electronics, it's hydraulics. I mean, it's changed. And whilst I oversee a team of specialists, some of them are pretty far to the extremes in the sort of technology that we're dealing with. And it's very different. I'm more of a team leader. 10 or 12 years ago, I was actually in there drawing the bits and making them work, and that was good fun. But you can't go back, so you have to look for it.
But if your name is Phil Hill, and it was a Ferrari which made you the first American world champion, you can look back.
It's indescribable, really. You have to be here to be able to appreciate it. To be able to be with that car from 1961 is really exceptional. Also, right alongside of it is the car that I won with at Monza in 1960, the last time that anyone won a Formula One Grand Prix with a front-engine car.
Eddie Irvine calls them works of art, and he's right. But they're really racing cars. So the following day, drivers like 1964 world champion John Surtees and the man they always called the racing dentist, Tony Brooks, joined scores of other racing greats in ignoring the rain and showing a vast crowd of typically calm-eyed Italians that the form of art practiced by Ferrari was definitely not still life. In fact, to many of us, it was, and still is, music. The stars of the show, naturally, were the current Formula One team. And as Jean Todt made his entrance in style, the red and white army needed to put Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine on the grid was waiting for him. But this is Italy, and although Mr. Todd's troops were models of discipline, especially when they were advancing to back up their gladiators, not everything was so well organised. If you think of Schumacher and Irvine as the gladiators of today, this was the right place for them to appear. For this stretch of road through one of Rome's open spaces runs right past the Circus Maximus. From the days of ancient civilization, this has been a place where the citizens of the Eternal City have found entertainment and excitement. And the reason this was chosen for the anniversary celebrations? It was on this circuit in May 1947 that Ferrari won its first race. Enzo Ferrari was born in Modena on February 20th, 1898. As a young man, he raced cars, mainly Alfa Romeos, but he saw his future as a manager rather than a driver. He worked at first for Alfa, but in 1929, he set up his own race team. It was with this car, the classic Alfa Romeo P3, that he made his reputation, and Scuderia Ferrari, with its prancing horse badge, effectively became the Alfa factory team. In 1936, the team had V12 Alfas to take on Germany's challenge in Grand Prix racing. In their element, these racers were the latest in engineering technology. Even today, 60 years later, they can raise the hairs on the back of your neck. Ferrari also had the greatest driver of the day, Tazio Nuvolari, and the combination brought Grand Prix wins in Hungary and Spain. Nuvolari also won the Vanderbilt Cup in America, and today the trophy won by the Flying Mantuan is on display at Symbolic Motors in California. Here the love of old cars mixes with commercial good sense to create one of the few places on Earth where an F1 car of 1995, a plank on its underside to keep its ride height legal, sits beside one of the very first Ferrari racers, a Type